up, YouTube?
Hello, guys.
We're back at it again after like a few months or like however long it's been.
Being away from the YouTube. We definitely had a lot of shit happen to us. We've both had relationships and we've dealt with a lot of things, and I say this because today's video will be about heartbreaks.
It's gonna be a Heartbreak Pep Talk.
And it's a very popular video. It's also something that we felt very strongly about, especially because we're both going through the same thing. And another person that is, we have a special guest with us today, and that is my very favorite Shishar. So, Serena, if you'll come out. I fucking hate you, bro.
This is our sister, and in the span of the past 2 weeks, all three of us have been broken up with from our boyfriend.
Literally almost by the same reason. Once we sit down and actually, we might tell little snippets of what happened. You'll soon realize how similar all our stories are and how much we can all relate to this, and we know how much a lot of you guys can relate to this as well. Who wants to go first with a little bit of maybe your experience or what you learned?
Take it away, Allie.
Okay.
We're definitely not saying names, and if you do know the names, please don't comment them down below, because I know a lot of you guys know us really well. So please don't comment the names below. We're not trying to spread any kind of hate. This is all just helping you guys, and maybe some of you can relate and heed our advice. So please don't comment any names because they will be deleted.
So we're just gonna go story by story, give our opinions, what we learned and stuff. I was dating this guy for almost 6 months. He'd done me wrong a bunch of times, and I always forgave him. I always looked past it, and I always thought that it would get better, everything would be fine because I loved him. But really, at the beginning of our relationship, it was so good, but when the farther it got, the more toxic it became, and I just couldn't see it. I just felt that I could get past it because I moved past other toxic things in my life, and I'm doing fine. I was heartbroken for 2 days. I could barely get out of bed. I wasn't eating. I was throwing up. I was crying. It was just no good. No bueno. And then I had a lot of supportive friends and my supportive sisters by my side and telling me that I was worth way more than him to cheat on me and lie to me and do all the things he had done to me to break my heart, and it just wasn't, I was worth way more than to sit here and let him treat me like that and put up with it. And no matter how heartbroken I was or how heartbroken I am, because I'm still sad about it, but I look at it from a different perspective now, that if he was going to cheat on me or lie to me or do something he knew that would break my heart, he wasn't worth my time anyways. My advice from that relationship is, don't give your all to someone and expect everything you give them
to be reciprocated.
Yeah, to be given back to you, because I gave him way more of my heart than he gave me, and in the end I was more heartbroken than he was because he had a new girlfriend within 10 minutes of us breaking up, and he would post about her, say he loved her, all this stuff. So if he really loves this girl or whatever, after 10 minutes of us breaking up, he never loved me like he said he did in the first place. Know your self-worth. Really just know your self-worth.
Especially before going into a relationship that big and making that many sacrifices to somebody just to break up with them when you don't even love yourself. You find no joy when you're alone or in your friends. You've given up all your friends and you're at a crossroad, you don't know what to do. And at that point, when you've lost something you thought was going to last forever and it didn't end up that way, and you still don't know your self-worth, you're going to find yourself dead. And that's a really sad reality for most women, more than men. Not saying that it isn't completely on both sides, because it happens with guys too. Girls can be bitches just as much as guys can. But it's more common in women to not even give a shit about yourself and expect a man to fix it for you. I really hope from you listening to her story and what she's gone through, you learn from that and be better, because she's telling you this out of love and out of security for all the women in this world, even men who are dealing with the exact same thing.
I loved myself before that relationship. I knew my self-worth, and I thought that seeing all my friends in happy relationships, or like seeing like a lot of people I know in like happy long-term relationships, I was like, maybe like it'll just help me become better. Like, at the beginning of the relationship, it was like fine, like it was good, like I still loved myself, but the farther we got into the relationship, the more my self-confidence and the more insecure I became went downhill. He made me feel like my self-worth was to the all-time low. And when we broke up, I had no more of that confidence that I used to have, and it just broke me even more. And praying to God really helped me. Thank you, Serena, for helping me with my relationship with God the past few days. And it's just really helped me to learn that I'm worth way more than that. That no matter how heartbroken I am, I'm gonna get over it, and in the future I'm gonna be successful, and I don't need a boy to make me happy.
Preach.
And
I was gonna say that too.
I don't need a boy to make me happy or to make me love myself. But yes, he made me feel loved, he made me feel good at times, but I can love myself more than he could have ever loved me. So I'm gonna leave my story at that. Pass it to one of you.
With mine, it's very hard to explain, and it's very difficult for me because my story, I don't think a lot of people in a certain way can relate to, but maybe a very select few people can. Prior, when I was in the 10th grade, I was barely 16. I met this boy who I thought was the hottest boy I had ever met in my life. I told my sister, I was like, I'm going to marry this man. I'm going to marry this man. The day I met him, I was like, I'm going to marry this man. I'm being so serious. I finally had the opportunity to be with him. And after, I was very skeptical because of a lot of things that people were telling me as well, and telling me about his past and telling me a lot of things that he had done. So I ended up being with him for a year, and it was the best year of my life. I gained so much. I learned so much. I fell more and more in love with him every single day. He was probably the best thing, and to this day I will say the same thing. He's the best thing that's ever happened to me. And I know he loved me more than anything, so it had nothing to do with any kind of toxic things or anything like that. But there did come a point where we could not be together anymore because there were a lot of things that happened, a lot of choices we made that weren't the best, and we needed to grow apart and be better separately. So all of my junior year, we were apart. We did not speak. We never saw each other. And when I lost him, need I remind you, it was like that. I didn't know I was going to. I knew that he had gotten in some trouble. Some stuff happened. And next thing I know, I got a call saying I was probably never going to see him again. And I was devastated. I was mortified. I was basically telling myself there's no reason for me to live in this world anymore. And finally, 6 months later, I got to a point where I was like, you know what? I'm my own woman. Like, I don't need this shit. I actually, this junior year, as hard as it was to be without him, I actually gained so many friends. I had the time of my freaking life. I partied. I met this bitch. Like, the very beginning of July, there was an opportunity that arose that I got him back. I got an opportunity to be his friend again. And I told myself I'd rather be his friend than to not have him at all. And that was more important to me than not having him in my life. So we started off as friends, and then it moved on to the point where feelings couldn't be ignored. And it got to the point where he would be jealous of the things that I was doing out of nowhere when we weren't even together, and we agreed to just be friends because he and I were not in a place to be in a relationship. I actually was having too much fun being single to the point where I wasn't wanting to be in a relationship, and he just wasn't ready for one. And so we had both agreed, but it got to a point where I was getting mad at the things that he was doing, or if he went to parties, and he was getting mad if I had like boys at my house. He was getting angry that people were at my house that he didn't know, and he was getting angry when I wasn't telling him where I was going. And so I was like, okay, obviously it's bigger than I thought. It became to flirting, and it got to the point where we started to fall in love with each other. Like, it was like we never lost time. Like, nothing ever fucking happened. Like, we were never apart. Like, we told each other absolutely everything. There were no secrets. Everything just came into place. And then for about 3 months, everything was perfect. And His parents did not know we were together, unfortunately, and that's a big part that plays, because it was really hard for him to keep that such a big secret and such a big part of his life away from his family, because we saw each other maybe once or twice a week, which was difficult, especially for me, and I really don't think on my part I made that easy, and I will take the blame for that. But for the last 5 days of our relationship, he was very distant and very weird, and a lot of his friends had told me, you know, he's been really off, he's being weird, I don't know what's going on with him. And he texted me out of nowhere, and out of everything I'm telling you, you'll be just as shocked as I was. On Halloween. He had told me he was going to take a nap, which he does almost every single day. Nothing out of the blue, except for our few fighting and him being distant. I thought nothing of it. I thought he was just having a rough week, and we would get past it like we always do. I get a text from him that says, Charlotte, I don't love you anymore. I'm really sorry for everything I've ever done. I don't think we're meant to be together. And when I tell you I got that message, my heart broke to the point where I even was like, I called him and I was like, is this a joke? Like, are you lying to me? Like, is this, like, what the fuck are you talking about? And I was shaking. I was literally so disoriented. And I had told all of my friends at the beginning of my relationship with him, I said, I will never give him that much power again over me. Because at any moment he could leave. At any moment his parents can find out about us and shut me out. At any moment this could happen to me again. And I swore to myself I wouldn't let it happen. And I did it anyway. I let myself love him again. I let myself give in, because the love I had for him was so strong that the point when I first met her and I was talking about him, I was shaking, and I blamed it on being cold. Because I was so distraught and hurt and angry at everything and the world that talking about him just made me want to die. At this point, I don't know what he and I are, because he still expects me to abide by a lot of the stuff that he says. He wants me to still, I guess, be single and not date anybody else. He still wants me to be respectful and not do anything that he wouldn't like. So I don't know where I stand right now, but at this point, I'm to a point where if he says that he doesn't want me, then I need to be at a point where, fine, you don't want me, that's great. That's your feelings, you're entitled to them. But if you want me, your ass better prove to me. So the second that you want me back, your ass better be proven the fuck to me that that's what you want. Because if I ever in my life take you back, and I hope he fucking watches this, because if I ever take your ass back, you better never in a million years hurt me again. Because I swear to God, consequences will be there. Stick to your heart and stick to your word, and honestly, surround yourself with people who love you and want the best for you, because they're going to be the people in your corner. Because I never expected, out of everything I've told you and everything I've explained, I never expected this to happen to me. Be confident, be proud of who you are, and if something doesn't work out, maybe that just means now's not the time. Maybe that means that in the future, maybe then it's the right time, and maybe someone else just needs space and time to grow up and figure out the things they need to figure out. Maybe you guys are meant to be together, just now's not the time for you guys, and you need time to grow up and space and let yourselves be who you are. And the day that it's supposed to happen, and if you're meant to be with someone, it will happen. If not, then you're not meant to be together, and you've got to accept that. So I encourage you, make a list of things that you know you deserve, and if someone doesn't make that checklist, they know where the door is. It's something you really need to stick to, and surround yourself with people that really love you, because these two girls have had my back from day one, and they've done nothing but support me and love me and take care of me regardless of any mistake I've ever made.
In 2016 when we started dating, but it was 2015 when we got together. Good. So I met him when I was 12, and it was 2015. We were like living my best life, like
killing it.
Met him at church, yeah, killing it. And so basically I met him, and first off, I loved him from the start. Like, I even wrote down
the same with me.
Yeah, in my journal I wrote down, literally, it was like in July, and I wrote down, I don't like know really what love is because I've never loved anyone, but I'm like 99.9% sure that I am in love with this guy. And we ended it like 4 months later during that summer, and then in 2016 we got back together and started dating, and we dated for a year. He was not the greatest guy in the beginning. He was just this really good guy, you know, really encouraging each other to know more about God and like spread positivity. After a few months, I'm not going to give like specifics or anything like that, but he started wanting things that I did not want, and we argued a lot and we fought a lot, and I compromised things or my moral beliefs and things like that because that's what he wanted, and I wanted to give him my all. Ever since I was younger, I've always, as soon as I meet my first love, I want to get married with him, like be together with him all throughout high school and all that stuff. Like I've always been that, yeah, I've always been that type of girl that wants that. That's literally my goal in life. But he broke up with me. What I learned from that is don't compromise your moral beliefs or what you believe in for a guy, and don't compromise your self-worth or your value just to please another guy, because in all reality, if this guy is not meant to be, you literally wasted so much time on this one guy. So why are you compromising it? Don't give your whole heart away. I know that it's so difficult to not do that because we all three have done it. Because then that guy, there's no telling what he could do. And if you have a good guy, yeah. And if you have a good guy, he's, he could not break it or he could break. You never know.
And nowhere in this are we saying don't get in a relationship. It'll always end in heartbreak. No. Because I know so many people that have been with their boyfriends or adults that have been with their husbands for years upon years
10th grade,
that have been happy, that they're just perfectly happy.
I'm not just lucky.
I'm not saying don't ever get in a relationship, you'll always get heartbroken, but there's a big chance that, especially as us teenagers, and even in high school, most of the time you get heartbroken, especially in high school relationships.
Or even in general, before you find the person you're going to spend the rest of your life
with. Yeah, and it sucks to say because we all want the dream of being together since you were
female, everyone wants that dream.
And, everyone wants that dream of finding the love of their lives and things being perfect, but that in reality, that's not life. It's not only that, but, when you're saying that, whether it's a girl saying it to a guy or a guy saying it to a girl, when you say you're not loved, you're not wanted, you're literally hurting them, and you're making them feel like their self-worth and what their value is all the way down here, and that's going to set them up for so many issues in life, because then the next guy that they're with, who could actually be a good guy, is going to get set up for crap, because she's not going to trust him because you freaking jacked it up. You could have just said, this is the truth, I'm really sorry, this is just how I feel, I'm sorry that I hurt you. There's so many other ways that you can, end a relationship than I don't want you, or I don't love you, or you're not worth crap, or whatever. It doesn't have to be this angry thing. It doesn't have to be this big deal where you guys are arguing with each other about it. This next guy, definitely love him still. Yeah. But, it's okay. He's working on himself, We were together for 9 months. 10 months, actually. We were together for 10 months. I have lots to say about this, but advice I would give about this is know your self-worth and know your value and know who you are. And you don't have to have your life figured out. That's not what I'm saying, because obviously, as teenagers especially, there are so many things that we have yet to learn and so many trials that we have to go to that are going to test us. Just know that you are loved and you are worth so much. And even if a guy says that you aren't loved, or even if a girl says you aren't loved, or whatever, that you really are. And I know we keep saying guys, but this goes for girls as well.
We're just speaking from a female's point of view.
Yeah, but I know that girls do this to guys all the time.
It's the same thing. If in a relationship your partner says that they need time, or they're trying to figure out their life, give that to them, because it's a better chance that your ending will be happy. And that they'll be like, okay, this person loved me enough to give me the chance to grow up and do what I needed to do, make the sacrifices I needed to make, give me time to do what I needed to do, and they loved me enough to give me that.
But just know that your partner or whoever you are with is going to make mistakes and is going to mess up, especially at teenagers.
Nobody's perfect.
And
no relationship's supposed to be perfect.
And look back on your own life and see where you've made a mistake and you wanted someone to say, it's okay to make a mistake. It's okay to not be okay.
And learn from the things you've gone through.
Yeah, and don't expect someone to support you if you're not going to support them back. Or don't expect them to want to be around you if you don't want to be around them.
Don't expect your relationship to be a walk in the park. Expect there to be trials. Expect there to be issues. Even sometimes,
and arguments.
Honestly, respect sometimes that you guys might need space.
I love how you got so close.
I know, I'm sorry.
And you're talking about space.
I honestly,
I love
that hit me so hard, because honestly, don't expect your relationship to... I'm being serious, though. Don't expect your relationship to be an exact walk in the park. And don't expect your partner to never need time to think or be on their own or make some sacrifices before they can realize they're good for you.
Especially if you're wanting it to be a long-term relationship, because trust me, especially starting out from younger, going to older, you're going to have so many arguments. It's not even funny because you're trying to figure your life out. You're trying to figure things out.
You're just doing it with someone else.
Yeah, exactly.
So basically, this video is to just try and tell you that you're worth
the world.
So much. But one thing that I have, just gonna try not to cry right now. The biggest thing I learned from my relationship, besides I'm worth so much more than he made me feel like I was, is when he left and he walked out the door like it was easy. I sat there and I begged him to stay. I begged him to stay with me. I tried to do anything for him to stay and to just try and stay happy. If someone wants to leave or someone wants to walk out on your life, then
let them.
They obviously were not meant to be in your life. When I say everything happens for a reason, I mean really everything happens for a reason.
I think she meant they were meant to be in your life. They just weren't meant to be
it was a season.
Yeah.
If they want to walk out, they're obviously doing it for something. It's happening for a reason.
Yeah.
But it taught you something.
But do not beg them to stay. Do not sink so low as to think that you have to beg someone or plead and ask them to stay for you because you think that begging will make them stay just for your own happiness. Do not beg someone.
They'll just be unhappy and
that's one thing I did when me and him broke up. I begged him and it just pushed him away farther because he realized I was gonna be so unhappy without him because I acted like my life wasn't gonna work without him, and he loved seeing how much pain I was in. He loved seeing that I didn't think I could function without him. But we broke up 4 days ago. He already has a brand new girlfriend. They made it official yesterday. As I see them posting things on social media, I sit there and I laugh in person, but deep down it breaks my heart. But tonight, I block them on everything. I cut them out of my life because I don't want to sit there and scroll through my social media and see something that's just gonna hurt me every time I open Instagram or every time I open Snapchat. I'm trying to move on and better myself, and sitting there acting like I'm one of their fans or stalking how they're doing is not helping me at all. If he's happy, let him be happy. If she's happy, let her be happy, because he obviously wasn't happy with me, hence why he left. But I'm gonna be happy without him. I'll be okay. I don't need him.
Chilling.
I don't need him to be a confident, successful woman in the future. I tripped over him for what?
For what?
To forget him in a year or
a month?
Don't trip over someone when they leave. You obviously will for a while because your heart is broken. But don't trip over someone if they leave, because in the end, if they left, they left.
And find friends to encourage you.
Good friends and good sisters
are beautiful
help.
And that you are worth so much. And
surround yourself with them. Our whole purpose of this video wasn't to bash relationships. It wasn't to tell you that relationships don't work out. It wasn't to do any of that. It was speaking from our personal experience and telling you how we feel personally, and also to give you an update on our lives, because we haven't been on YouTube in a fat minute.
But we're going to start making more videos.
Funny content for them, because I'm the editor.
So basically, our next video, we're going to give you a full update of when we're going to start posting again. If you want to ask questions, you can DM us. We'll have all our social media down below. You can DM us, add us on Snapchat. If you want to have us do another advice video, whether it be on absolutely any topic you want,
just comment,
let us know, subscribe.
Let me know if you want me to come back.
Yeah, let us know.
In the far distant future.
Just kidding, love you, sure.
Okay,
but that's basically it. This is gonna be a ton of editing.
A ton of freaking editing.
I'm the only one editing, so
might suck.
But we love you guys, and please subscribe.
Yeah, like and subscribe.
Like
drop a like,
and we'll see you guys soon.
Peace
Bye,
out,
guys.